From Lilo and Stitch, we learned that Ohana means family. Netflix now brings us an original movie playing on the same theme with Finding Ohana. So let's hang 10 and dive into this. A summer in rural Oahu takes an exciting turn for two Brooklyn-raised siblings when a journal pointing to a long-lost treasure sets them on an epic adventure with new friends and leads them to reconnect with their Hawaiian heritage. So at first I wasn't sure I was going to check this out. Then I watched the trailer and saw that it looked like a lighthearted action adventure with a ton of feels of the Goonies. And I was right. Parts of this really feel like I'm watching Mikey and the gang as they search for One-Eyed Willie's treasure. Pili and Eone are sister and brother who are visiting Hawaii to see their grandfather. Pili is a geocacher and she loves adventuring. When she finds an old journal that talks about hidden treasure, her interest is piqued and she's obsessed. The first thing you really have to know is that this is cheesy. It's overacted and a lot of the emotions are just way over the top. The expressions, mannerisms, and line delivery are all over-exaggerated and even cringy at times. But that being said, it's also very cute with some heart. But even with the heart, there are portions that irked me. The tone of the family relationship for much of the movie, it's angry and biting. I mean, there's lots of name-calling, insults, and arguing, and the brother Eone is fairly rude and mean with some serious bravado and even a little bit of misogyny. I know that they put the relationship issues into the story, so we get to see character growth, to see the changes in behavior and attitude, but it was still off-putting for the first part of the movie. Luckily though, we do see some character growth, and I think there could have been more, but what we get, it's still decent. I love that we get a good sense of the Hawaiian culture and values, even if it's not totally in depth. The beliefs help play some vital roles in the themes that are woven throughout, and it's not just the theme of family. I mean, there's love, forgiveness, and honor that are playing large roles too. Now, I said that this reminded me of the Goonies, and wow, there are so many references, and they come in the form of visuals, dialogue, even hidden Easter eggs. And then to top it off, Data is in this. I mean, I even snorted because he has a line where he yells out, "Slick shoes!" I died. There's even a point where Eone is wearing a headband, and the way he has his hair, and really just his whole look, he resembled Josh Brolin playing Brand. But there are also a ton of pop culture references and nods too. One piece of dialogue deals with the show Lost, and again, this killed me. I mean, it's pointed, it's witty, and oh so true. As a treasure story is being told, we get to see it visually represented with pirates acting out the dialogue that's being discussed by Pili and Eone. And while this was cute, it was executed exactly like Luis telling a story in Ant-Man. I mean, it's fun, but it's definitely not original. And at this point, it was such a blatant copy that it felt a little weak to me. And then they used this bit multiple times throughout the movie, so it got a little stale and it lost its charm. So this movie is predictable. I mean, very predictable. The premise is easy to follow, it's not complex, but the predictability really wasn't an issue for me. I mean, I became invested in the treasure hunt as well as the characters. And I was surprised at how much I got into the humor. It's corny and ridiculous, but I found myself chuckling out loud multiple times. Now the movie's just a bit over 2 hours, and it's kind of long for what they're telling. There are parts that are kind of extraneous and really could be cut. And those scenes didn't add anything to the overall story, and by removing them, it wouldn't have changed a single outcome, except to make the story tighter. The beginning of the movie feels a bit rushed as they try to establish Pili, and even the first bit, the family is on the island. But then it begins to find its groove and it settles into a more natural pace, and then it moves in a deliberate manner. But it's not too jumpy or scattered, and even with the scenes that I think could be cut, they still don't break the continuity of what's being told. Some bits feel a little underdeveloped because we just get small mentions of certain characters at the beginning of the movie, and then they're revisited at the very end. I mean, I had actually forgot what they were talking about when the characters started discussing it at the end of the movie. So I'm playing catch up in my own brain, and then I finally remembered, and so, then all is well. This is made to be a family movie, and I think that for the most part, it can appeal to a pretty broad audience. Younger kids might get bored, but I think there's enough fun in here to keep older kids and adults smiling. So if you're in the mood for something cute, but with some action and humor, and something that's fairly family friendly, you should check this out, especially with the overarching positive message of family and forgiveness. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, and a little bit of violence. I give Finding Ohana 4 out of 5 couches. So I just reviewed the Netflix movie The Dig about buried treasure, and now we've got Finding Ohana about more treasure. So who's up for a treasure hunt? Where would you go to find hidden treasure? I'm thinking somewhere in the Caribbean because, pirates and all. But let me know where you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.